So I'm about to walk into Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This is one of my most anticipated films of the year. Very excited going into this. I really dug Afterlife. The original Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies of all time. And so, really looking forward to seeing what they're doing with this new one. The old ones are returning. There's all the good signs that this is going to be a fun time. And so I'll let you know what I thought of it once I get out. Hi, my name is Nathan, and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. If you enjoyed this video, then click the like button somewhere down here, and be sure to subscribe. And I have more content like this over on my channel. Be sure to check those out once this video is over. As a point of reference going into this review, I am a huge fan of the Ghostbusters franchise. And I really enjoyed the original Ghostbusters. That's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. And I also really enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife, my favorite movie of 2021. So naturally, going into Frozen Empire, my expectations were high. Keep that in mind with this video, and let's get started talking about the good. And right out of the gate, coming out of talking about the positive aspects of the film, I think that this film, as a big fan of the Ghostbusters franchise, was just a blast from beginning to end. It decided to do something new with the franchise rather than go about just kind of rehashing the original. So what I mean by that is that the original is about a group of scientists starting up a business to catch ghosts, and Afterlife was kind of the same sort of thing, but I thought it was a very good movie. Very good type of rehash, if you were to word it in that sense. But here, I think it actually did something different with the franchise. It's not about a group of people trying to restart Ghostbusters. And it's not about them trying to stop Gozer from ending the world or something, and Zuul and Vince Clortho. It's not about any of that stuff that was present in the original film as well as Afterlife. Instead, it tells a new story, and that's, I think, what the best part about the film is, that it actually did something new with the franchise. And add to that, there's just a very charming set of characters. The cast is absolutely stacked. You get our entire cast of Afterlife back. They're a lot of fun to see back on the big screen. You also get our original Ghostbusters returning for more than 5 minutes. Not like in Afterlife, but our original Ghostbusters return for a major portion of the film. And that's always a lot of fun. I always love to see the original Ghostbusters and their banter, their dynamic. And that is present in a large portion of this film. And while the film is telling this new story with a new threat and is putting a different aspect on the Ghostbusters, it never draws away from the charm of the franchise. What I mean by that is the original Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies of all time because it's just a great time at the movies. That's one of the main reasons. And it tells a very interesting concept, but really what elevated that movie was the characters, how they interacted with each other. I just thought that was a lot of fun. And here, with the opportunity of more characters, none of the charm from that original Ghostbusters and Afterlife is lost here. It still maintains that group dynamic, especially even when it's with like 15 people in this movie. It maintains the fun dynamics of Afterlife as well as the original Ghostbusters. And so I just thought that was so well done as it did that. And like a Ghostbusters movie, it's a kind of horror film, but it can also be very funny at times. Like throughout the movie, my audience was laughing out loud at certain things that characters were saying, especially one of the scenes with Paul Rudd where he's like talking to Phoebe's mom, like in one of those sequences. That had my audience bursting with laughter. And it's just fun to see a Ghostbusters movie on the big screen with a packed theater, having a good time with it. And it added some new layers of mythology to the franchise. Like I said earlier, it's not about Gozer. It's about this new threat. And these artifacts and this Kumail Nanjiani's character being a superhero, basically. It's just a lot of fun, and it builds on the lore of the Ghostbusters. It adds something new to the franchise, and it did something new with its plot. And so overall, as a big fan of the Ghostbusters franchise, I was very pleased with this movie. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I thoroughly enjoyed what they did with it. But since I had my expectations so high, it unfortunately wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, so let's move on to the bad. And for me, when it comes to the bad for this movie, there's not a whole bunch to talk about, because I really enjoyed this film, but there are some things for me that maybe if they had fixed up some certain things, it probably would have even been better than Afterlife, but I thought there's just things that knocked it back just a little bit. First off, the Afterlife is probably the most emotional Ghostbusters movie we had. While it does have all the fun hijinks you want from a Ghostbusters movie, it does have all the fun characters, dynamics, and everything, Afterlife was really also a movie about parents and children connecting with each other. Whether you're talking about Phoebe connecting with her mother, or Phoebe's mother connecting with Egon finally. And those two, they had some emotion to them. And so you got emotional by the end of that movie because that felt earned. And here with Frozen Empire, you can tell they're trying their best to maintain that heart of the film. And I didn't think it was nearly as effective as it probably should have been. I thought it was fun. Like it was fun at times, it was funny at times, it was enjoyable, but it was missing some of that heart. And Phoebe, our McKenna Grace character, does have a character arc in the movie, but it's not as emotionally poignant as it was in Afterlife. Other thing to talk about here, it does build off of the mythology, like I said, it does add a new threat, adds to the lore, but I didn't find this particular plot with this particular threat nearly as interesting as Gozer, Zool. And at the same time, I'm glad that they didn't rehash Gozer and Zool, but I just didn't find the plot nearly as interesting, or what was taking place nearly as interesting as what was present back in Afterlife. And so those are really my two major gripes with the film. But overall, I thought this was a very good movie that if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you're going to really enjoy what this movie has to offer as fun character dynamics, fun sequences. It's very funny, and it adds more to the Ghostbusters franchise. So overall, I'm going to go A- on this one, but that's just my take. Down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out right now. And if you enjoy this video, click the like button and be sure to subscribe, because that really does help a lot. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next one.